Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about a very important global institution that is called as International Criminal Court. Now, International Criminal Court has been making the news headlines for past few days, especially in relation to this news that has come about the arrest of Myanmar's military general. So in this video in detail we are going to discuss about how does this particular court works, how it is organized and whatever is its jurisdiction. So first of all, if you try to understand about why this particular court has been news, so recently the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, that is Karim Khan, he has requested for an international arrest warrant. This arrest warrant he has aimed toward the military ruler of Myanmar, and this arrest warrant has been issued because he believed that the military ruler has been involved in the persecution of an ethnic minority group referred as Rohingya. Rohingyas are ethnic minority group that has been residing in Myanmar. However, Myanmar believes that they belong in the Bangladesh, not in Myanmar, and that is why many of the Rohingya refugees are or has been coming to India for past several years. Now, the Office of Prosecutor has said that the Aung Hlaing, who is the chief of the military government in Myanmar, and he was the one who has orchestrated a coup, and that in year 2021, and is responsible for what he called as the crime against humanity. Now later on we'll discuss about the charter of ICC, under which it has the jurisdiction to punish any crimes against humanity. So in this regard, the treatment of Rohingya minority by this particular chief of military is considered as crime against humanity, and that is why the arrest warrant has been demanded. Now, if you look at the ICC, the brief details about the ICC. So first of all, the ICC is headquartered in a city of Netherlands that is called as The Hague. The Hague is also the city which hosts another organization by the name of International Court of Justice, that is ICJ. ICC was established in year 1998 under a treaty that is referred popularly as Rome Statute. Now, if you look at the major aims and objectives of the ICC, so it investigates and wherever warranted, tries the individual charged with the gravest crimes of concern that the individual has carried out against the community or international community. Now, as per the Rome Statute, ICC has been given the power or been vested with the power to basically investigate crimes related to these four domains. These four domains are the genocide. Genocide basically refer to the ethnic cleansing, where you target a particular ethnic group or any kind of group. Second is war crimes, that is general crime conducted against humanity during the war. For example, targeting of hospital infrastructure or any kind of civilian infrastructure during a war, such as launching of missiles over such infrastructures, can be considered as war crimes. Interestingly, ICC in the earlier part of the year has also charged the Vladimir Putin, who is the leader of Russia, as a participant of the war crimes. Third, it can prosecute cases against crimes against humanity. Crimes against humanity is where the Myanmar's military leader comes into the picture. And fourth, the crimes of aggression. Now, since in this particular case, the crimes against humanity is where the general or the military general of Myanmar has been charged, let us try to understand this term in more detail. Now, ICC can prosecute crimes against humanity which are serious violations that are committed as part of the large-scale attack carried out against any civilian population. In this regard, 15 forms of such crimes have been listed in the original Rome Statute from which the ICC derives its power. Now, these crimes can be wide-ranging, starting from murder, rape, imprisonment, enforced disappearances, enslavement, particularly of women and children, sexual slavery, torture, apartheid, and deportation. And it is this kind of crime which the military general of Myanmar has been involved in against the ethnic group, minority group, that is Rohingyas. So if you talk about, first of all, the membership, because ICC cannot discharge its function over such countries which does not require its existence or which have not signed the Rome Statute. So if you talk about the present situation, total 123 countries across the world are party to the Rome Statute, including major countries such as Britain, Japan, Afghanistan, interestingly, and Germany. In this regard, the USA, we have to understand its very interesting situation where USA has kept its distance. And this is why we are calling it interesting, because generally ICC, ICJ, all these are considered as an organization or institutions that are of Western architect. And thus USA, since being the most dominant Western power, has kept its distance from the ICC. So it has maintained that ICC should not exercise jurisdiction over citizens of such countries that are not party to it. And thus, if we talk about India and China also, they have also abstained from having a membership or of from ratifying the Rome Statute. Now let us try to understand on the world map that which countries are the signatory or not the signatories. Now based on the recognition of the jurisdiction of ICC, from this map we can classify countries into 6 categories. First, the countries which have ratified the ICC. Second, who have ratified earlier but later on withdrawn from the ICC. Then third, countries where situation is under investigation. Fourth is the countries which have signed the treaty, the statute, but have not ratified it. And fourth, neither signed nor ratified. Now here if we talk the countries which have ratified the statute, so as you can see, it is largely almost entire South American countries we can see. In North America, Mexico, Canada, except US as we have discussed before. Similarly, most of countries of Africa, and interestingly the entire European Union, if you look here, has ratified the treaty. Apart from that, you have Australia, you have Japan, South Korea, etc. If you look at Russia, Russia has signed the treaty, but it has not yet ratified the ICC, and same is the case with US. And if you talk about India, so India has neither signed nor ratified the treaty. Interestingly, if we talk about such states that were earlier signatory but later on withdrawn, there you have a country that is Philippines, situated in the East Asia or Southeast Asia. So that is how overall we can understand the jurisdiction over which ICC can exercise over different countries. Now, interestingly, many times the question comes into mind that what is the major difference between the ICJ and ICC? So two major differences we can highlight here. First, ICJ investigate the cases that is related to the conflict between two nations. For example, if we talk about the Indus Water Treaty that the India and Pakistan have signed, if there is a disagreement and the countries cannot solve this matter bilaterally, the matter can be referred to the ICJ. In recent times, we have seen such matters being referred to ICJ is in the case of Philippines and China dispute, where the China has claimed a part of the Philippines island. Second is ICC. ICC basically investigate the crimes that is done by certain individuals. The ICJ basically has jurisdiction over countries, while ICC has jurisdiction over a particular individual of a particular nation. So that is how basically we can understand the major differences. Now, as far as the jurisdiction of ICC is concerned, it can prosecute the most heinous offences only where a country's own legal machinery has failed to act, as was the case that we have seen in the former Yugoslavia, where no action was taken over the Yugoslavian ruler, and same was the case of the Rwanda, where after the Rwandan genocide that happened in 1990s, no action was taken by the own legal mechanism of this particular countries. The ICC's jurisdiction is limited to offences occurring after it came into effect, and it came into effect on July 1st, 2002. So any incidents or the crimes that has happened before this particular year cannot be prosecuted by the ICC. Additionally, the offences that the ICC can prosecute, investigate, can only be committed either in such country that has ratified the agreement or by a national of a country which has ratified the agreement. Now, in this case, if we try to understand this particular case that we are talking about of Myanmar. Now, Myanmar is here. So, if you look at the map of Myanmar, Myanmar is such country which has neither signed nor ratified the agreement, and that is why there is a question of how far ICC can go in enforcing its jurisdiction. Now, the ICC can also practice its jurisdiction over such cases which has been referred to it by the United Nations Security Council. So that is how broadly we can understand that to what extent ICC can exercise its jurisdiction. To understand it in the term of flowchart, if suppose there has been a situation of a conflict that has arisen, now jurisdiction based on the complementarity principle, and as per the Article 17 of the Rome Statute, which has led to the development or formation of ICC, there are two things. First, as per the principle, the jurisdiction of national judicial system where the crime has been committed or where a certain situation has arisen, it has to come into picture. Then, if the state is unwilling or unable to investigate or prosecute such matters, in that case, the matter can be referred to the jurisdiction of ICC directly. or even after the jurisdiction of national judicial system has worked, it can still refer the matter to ICC for further investigation and prosecution. So, a state party may refer a situation directly to the ICC, bypassing national jurisdiction also, and also as we have discussed, the UNSC can also give the jurisdiction over certain cases to the International Criminal Court. Now, if you look at the overall organization of the International Criminal Court, it has 4 principal organs. These 4 principal organs are the Presidency, the Judicial Division, the Office of the Prosecutor, and the Registry. Now, briefly, if you understand, the President is the most senior judge that is chosen by the 18 judges who are the members of Judicial Division. And this Judicial Division is the one that hears the cases before the court, and based on the evidences, proof, they give their own verdict. The Office of Prosecutor, that is headed by the Prosecutor General, is the one who is responsible for the investigation of the crimes and also to initiate the criminal proceedings before the Judicial Division. And then the Registry is headed by the Registrar and charged with managing all the administrative functions of the ICC, that is including the headquarters of ICC, detention of the criminals, and public defense offices. And last, if you try to understand, the ICC is not an organization that is restricted within few countries. If you look at the membership, it has employees that are total more than 900 in number, and they come from roughly 100 countries across the world, and they conduct proceeding in 2 languages, English and the French. So, these are 2 official languages of the International Criminal Court. Now, suppose the ICC has given a certain verdict. How will it enforce the verdict? In this case, as ICC is simply a judicial institution, it does not have its own police force or enforcement body to enforce its verdict. Thus, it relies on cooperation with countries worldwide for support. While not a UN organization directly, the court, however, has a cooperation agreement with the United Nations, and in this regard, when the situation is not within the court's jurisdiction, UNSC can refer the situation to ICC, granting its jurisdiction over certain matters. And this is something we have seen earlier in the case of 2 countries. One, due to the civil war that happened in the Sudan, that led to what you can call as a crime against humanity and war crimes, that is in Darfur region, and further in the case of Libya. In both of these cases, ICC was given jurisdiction by the United Nations Security Council. Now, broadly, if you try to understand, since ICC cannot enforce its verdict without the help and support of the nations, obviously there is a limitation on whatever ICC verdict has been given. For example, even ICC today says that Vladimir Putin is responsible for war crimes and everything is conclusively proven. The problem is that ICC cannot go and arrest Vladimir Putin from the Russia. That has to be done by the Russian judicial system, which is highly unlikely. However, one thing that we have to understand, those countries which are party to the ICC that has ratified the treaty, there is a automatic, we can say, situation arises that if a war criminal who has already been prosecuted by the ICC or the verdict has been given against him, if he lands in that particular country has to arrest him as per the ICC rule book. So, example, if talking about the Myanmar's military general, though Myanmar does not recognize the jurisdiction of ICC, but if suppose the International Criminal Court indicts and finally finds him guilty, and if he lands in a country, let us suppose that he lands in France, which has recognized and ratified the treaty, the France government or the French government have to mandatorily arrest him. Now, again, this is not a strict rule. Many times this rule has been violated, where a guilty party or guilty person has not been arrested by a country who has ratified or which has ratified the treaty. So, in conclusion, what we can say that ICC actively works to build understanding and cooperation in all regions. For example, through seminars and conferences worldwide, the court cooperates with both state parties as well as the non-state parties. But we have to understand that obviously its functioning and its working has a certain limitations, as the arrest of any general, a military general or a leader of a particular country depends on the bilateral relationship that he or she enjoys with the other countries. So that is all about this particular video. I hope you overall understood the working and functioning of ICC and how is it organized. That is all for this particular video. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your fellow aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more such helpful content. Thank you very much.